Today's guest, Gage Sparrow, a 21-year-old originally from Fort Wayne who's betting big on himself, inspired by his close friend who's sitting right next to me, Justin Pates, who's actually our sales manager of Indiana. Gage is stepping into a new chapter, relocating to Indianapolis to chase growth in sales and in life. A self-taught trader who's learned discipline through losses. Gage lives by one core belief: focus on your own journey and stop the comparison game. He's hungry, grounded, and most importantly, just getting started. Fellas, shall we?
We shall.
We should note that Gage is a big Alani guy, so this is a first.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a switch up for me. Lonnie might be behind the camera, but we won't talk about it.
Probably Alani would give us a sponsorship before rain.
They might.
At this point.
When did you, Gage, feel like the path that you were on wasn't necessarily for you?
I would say, I guess, over these last couple years, I guess I came to a point of realization. Like, my whole life, I was always a sports guy, always played sports. And 2 years ago, I decided to walk away from football. And I think that was just kind of a major reality check in my eyes. Like, I'd always seen myself as a football player. Like, this was my passion in a sense. And I didn't really have, I guess, a lot of purpose outside of that. So I would say over these last couple of years, I've definitely been, I guess, in a point of feeling stuck. Like, I've done insurance, I've done financial advising. Just I've never felt like it's what's for me in a sense. And I guess, even just being with you guys over these last couple of days, it's made me realize that the life I want is out there. I really just have to go out and grab it in a sense. Just have that confidence to take the risk on myself, move to Indy like we talked about, and just go get the life that I want.
Do you feel like, going to college, you thought that was going to do it for you?
I mean, I feel like everybody's kind of sold that plan of, you go to school, you get your degree, you go get a good job, and your life, works out. But I guess one of the main things they don't tell you is college is going to provide you that map. But when you get out there in the real world, it has nothing to do with the territory. So you still have to go out there and learn everything about that territory.
Isn't it crazy when you talk about selling, like the idea of selling, right? It's kind of coming full circle now because you're transitioning into a sales rep position for us. You're moving to Indianapolis. Yeah. You're going to be, hopefully dominating that market. But you just said it, they sell you college, and it's literally an exchange of massive amounts of money.
That's exactly what we're doing.
You right? And that's typically what sales is you're selling someone something in exchange for money. Yeah. And there's this big idea that colleges are selling you to go to college, to be able to then, get a job. And really the only guarantee you have coming out of college is really debt, which is, sometimes, depending on what way you look at it, in my opinion, maybe not a good line of debt.
In the end, you really just walk away with a lot of uncertainty and a lot of payments at the end of the day. If you get lucky and get a scholarship or, your grades are good enough, so be it. But a lot of people, they're going to face that debt. And they're also facing the realities of the modern day world where you get out of college and people with experience are most likely going to end up getting some of those jobs over you. So as we see, our job market's been kind of trash, you know what I mean? So
I heard something the other day too. It talked about college teaches theories, but the marketplace is what pays your value. Yeah. Right. So nothing in what you get from college is this is what we're going to pay you because you have X, Y, Z. Right. No. Some positions do that, but most of the time you're going to get that degree. You're going to go out into the marketplace. They're going to pay you what they think your value is, and then you're going to show them what your value is through your results, which in turn will eventually, complete your compensation structure.
Well, with that too, it's a lot of people that are, in college can't really give the value that they know. Like you said, I feel like I'm worth more. Yeah. Sometimes the biggest debt is that untapped potential that you don't really get to use, because you're not in the real world. You're stuck learning a certain way of something. And I mean, it kind of puts a stint on, who you are, because again, a job isn't what you're going for at the end of the day. When you're on your deathbed, it's no, what kind of person was I? And what was the growth that was made?
Yeah, for sure.
I think Gage kind of mentioned too, I feel like a lot of people, and I kind of felt like this after I played college football, was you almost identify with that so much. and I like stripped that down to like the absolute core belief. And really what I was like, I wasn't a football player. I felt like I was a competitor, and I felt like I was a leader. Yeah. Right. And like those two abilities, whether it be in football, whether it be in, running the podcast, whether it be in working in AE, whether it be working in a different organization, like those were the core like identifiers that like I wanted to identify as, rather than just a football player. So I feel like it takes some of that time outside and actually in the marketplace to establish like really what the core fundamentals of like what you're identifying as is.
And what's cool is like you're not even like your identity, yes, now is like a sales representative, but it's much more than that. Like you're a good communicator. Like you're somebody that reroutes and like takes advantage of opportunities, right? Like it's so much deeper than like the title. Like your identity is found deeper in the experience that you give yourself.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah. And I feel like, especially for me, like I was always just trying to like, as you said, like I feel like I'm different. I feel like I was meant for more, so on. And I just felt like I needed to have it now in a sense. So I guess kind of in some of these other roles, I wasn't really trusting the process. I was more chasing commission in a sense. But as we know, it doesn't really necessarily work out. And then obviously like the skills and lessons that I learned from football, like you said, strip it down to that core belief. Like, yeah, I could go out, I could run a route, I could catch a football, but I was a great communicator with my teammates. I was a leader. Like I learned discipline. I learned every day to show up, put in the work. Because at the end of the day, back in the day, I was not the most athletic kid in the world. Like I was shorter, a little bit chunkier, a little slower. So to play inside receiver, like I had to go in and kind of see that process over the years actually turn into something great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you commit to like a time frame of like development in terms of like whether it be a wide receiver like you just said, or your workplace or college, or like what initially pops into your head in terms of like timeline, as far as like what are you initially like, hey, I would give something that amount of time before I'm like, hey, that's just not for me, or that gives me enough time to like see it through to see if it is for me.
Well, I think like in the point you had made a couple of days ago, a lot of people overestimate like how long a year is. It's like a lot of people think if I just go in, put a year in, like I'll be good. You know what I mean? But it just comes down to stacking years on top of years on top of years. So like for me, I didn't start training till I think 8th grade. And like when I really started to make a difference wasn't until like junior year. So like it was 3-4 years of just consistent work before anything really started to show.
Consistency looks like nothing is happening until everything changes.
So everything changes, yeah. Like I was really behind the shadows. Like nobody really knew what I was doing. Junior year, I popped out summer camp. They're like, yo, like this kid's been putting in the work. You know what I mean? And it goes for anything. Your sales role, life, regardless of what it is.
Well, again, it's like, people take it like agency and identity and what they have done, but like look at what you have done and the person you've become from it.
Yeah.
Like you are always changing and evolving, and everything that you have done has led up to this point, and the opportunity was seized because you are that kind of person to be able to handle hardships, like go through the grind, put yourself in uncomfortable situations and capitalize. And it's, again, there's a difference between what you're doing right now and what it is that you're becoming. And I think even too, like to bring it back to like the topic, like a lot of people think that, college is their agency, right? Like it's like, I'm going to go get a degree, but it's like, who are you after that piece of paper?
Yeah.
Like, are you going to grow? Like even gold medalists, like they'll win the gold medal, like they got their achievement, and then it's like, now what? Like they fall into a huge depression of like, what's next for me? Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest thing that, like, again, I would even tell the audience is like, don't look at where you're at. Like, look at where you're going to go and like where that takes you outside of, the label that you give yourself. Because again, there's so many times that people get caught up in, an old commitment, and they become stagnant because they stick to it.
Yeah.
When they know that like, growth is always evolving, right? So like if you're not evolving, like you're stagnant, And I mean, that definitely takes a lot of self-reflection to figure out.
Yeah. Gage, do you feel like, because you finished college, correct?
Almost.
So you're almost finished with college. Are you at the point now where you're finishing it just to say, hey, I finished it? Or is there something tangible you're trying to get, like any sort of achievement you're trying to get? Like, where are you at in that process?
I mean, realistically, I am pretty deep into it. So, like, at this point, it is something I do want to achieve. Like, I put in a lot of hours, I guess you'd say, to get it. And at the end of the day, I guess it is good to have a, backup plan in a sense. But in my mind, yeah, I guess in a sense, kind of just finishing it out. Because most of the experiences and lessons I guess I've learned over these past couple of years, like, school's taught me, I can turn an assignment on time. I can do the work. But, like, the roles and jobs I have taught me so much more about life and just being able to communicate with people and just honestly just how to live in the real world. You know what I mean?
Were your parents like a deciding factor in like wanting you to go to college, or did you want to go to college, or did you like, what was that? How'd that whole shake out?
Obviously I loved football. So like I wanted to play football, but I guess kind of after that, I was kind of looking at college, like, why am I here in a sense? So both my parents, like neither of them went to college, both worked at GM 35 years, made great lives for ourselves. So I think in their mind, they were like, we went and put in this work, so he wouldn't have to go, I guess, follow down our paths. But in their mind, like the way they were brought up, they were also sold the idea, like, go to school, you'll get a degree, so on. But I guess in our times, like even with my dad, just showing him trading and stuff, like, yo, I can make $500 in a couple minutes. Yeah. And like in his mind, like they can't even fathom, I guess, the different ways that we can actually go about making money nowadays.
I think it's just changed so much, right? Like the way that my parents made money were through blood, sweat, and tears. Like my dad can do anything and everything with his hands as far as building, working. Like my mom, same thing. She can do anything in the kitchen. She can, she knows how to run the operations as far as restaurants go. But it's like now, like, and I tell everybody, it's like, how can you not make money? Like if people are watching this, how can you not make money off this that's in your hand all day, every day? Like, you want to say that they're bad. You want to say that they give you, crappy stuff in your algorithm, like all of this stuff. It's like, what are you doing to actually like put in a conscious effort to like actually give yourself the ability to make tons of money off your cell phone? Because like that's what the world's kind of came to. And again, you're being paid off your real value and your real results, like in the marketplace, rather than just getting that piece of paper and doing what's always been done. Because at that point in time, like, it might be a safe bet, and if that's what you're looking for, like, by all means, maybe it is for you. But I think just really, and that's kind of the purpose of this podcast, right, is like to display to like a lot of people that there's definitely more out there in the world to get. It's just a matter of, are you willing to go out and find it? Yeah. Which might be scary at first, but like it is out there, right?
Well, and there's a stat, like 90% of people that graduate college like feel pretty satisfied with their life. But like this definitely goes out to like a special kind of person, like the person that understands, like I feel like I'm worth more. Like I feel like what I'm doing right now isn't aligning with like my higher purpose. Like I feel like there's more out there for me, and that 10% is like who we're trying to talk to. Yeah. And you mentioned the safe route, but like you can still fail at the safe route.
At the safe route.
Like Jim Carrey, he actually talked about his dad. Wanted to be an actor, decided not to because his family was, he had 3 siblings, I think, and he worked at an accounting firm, and the accounting firm went under. And it shows that you can even fail at the safe route, so why not just take the risk? Yeah. Right? Like, there's nothing that would change other than the fact that, like, you're doing something that aligns with, like, your higher purpose.
You're either, like, the guy riding in the vehicle with somebody else in charge, right, driving it, or you try and put yourself in the driver's seat to at least have some control over the vehicle. And like that's what I compare it to. Again, it's it's definitely safe sitting in the back, not having to worry about how to learn how to drive and all of these different things. But like, you definitely have more control if you're in the driver's seat in some of these positions rather than just being the guy in the back seat, kind of just along for the ride.
Yeah,
for sure. Bro, but both cars are, the end result is death. And it's harsh, but like, where do you want to be when you do die? Like, what kind of life do you want to have lived, like, when you are on your deathbed? Like, wow, I really did it. Like, I took a chance on like the feeling I had and completely exhausted my potential, or I am stuck with the what if.
And the thing is, like, you'll always be able to jump into the back seat, but you'll always be able to drive the car. You know what I mean? So it's really just where you want to take your life, in a sense. Like, do you want to have someone else drive that car for you, or do you want to take control and, I guess, drive it? And I guess for my point, I guess for being on the podcast today, I know a lot of other people are, I guess, in similar situations to me, 21, 22 years old, feel stuck, feel like they're meant for so much more. But, like, this has, like, taught me, like, if you just grab life by the balls, you know what I mean? Like, obviously I haven't moved down to Indy, so on, but like, I haven't been out of the basement. Like, this will be a major first step for me, but I know that I have to take a risk. I have to get out of my comfort zone if I want to get behind that wheel and I want to drive the car of my life, in a sense.
He didn't even know he was clip farming, but he just clip farmed.
Yeah, that was big. definitely going on the page.
What do you guys have to kind of wrap it up? We're already reaching 16 minutes here, so we're kind of running to the ending point. Like, what do you guys have, that last snippet of somebody watching that's probably in the same position? I know I was in it. My dad told me, sat at the kitchen counter and was like, do not do this. Mm-hmm. My mentor started a clock on his phone and said, if he hops on board with me, we'll see where he's at when this timer hits 5 years. And if he doesn't, we'll see where he's at when this timer hits 5 years. And, luckily I got off the college train and got onto this, and that's how all of this started,
how this happened,
which was been obviously an awesome ride for me personally, and hopefully some of you guys as well. But I know that point in time changed my life, so I would always encourage anybody and everybody to take the leap, because I think there's always the opportunity to go back. And I told JP this the other day. My brother was like probably the only person out of anyone that I was listening to, and he just told me, he's like, what do you have to lose? You're 20 years old, dude. He's like, I had college classes with 30-year-olds.
Yeah.
He's like, it blows up in your face. You go back to college, like, who cares? He's like, just take the jump.
Yeah. That safe route's always going to be there, like we talked about. I would just say, for me, like, live in the now. I know we had talked about it in the beginning, but I guess my whole life I've always, like, lived in a constant state of comparison. And over these last couple of years, it's definitely been something I've been trying to focus on and realize, like, everybody has their own path and has their own journey. And just because someone, I guess, gets an opportunity, or they might be looking like they're doing better than you in their life at that point, it's not necessarily true. And, like, people can't treat, I guess, how do I want to say this, like, not being in the spot they want to be, I guess, as a failure, because you can't view it as that. You have to view it as, I guess, an opportunity to go out. Like, I'm not where I want to be in my life right now. What do I have to do in between to get there? So, yeah, I guess that's how I would leave the podcast today.
Success isn't guaranteed, but misalignment will definitely guarantee failure. So if the path you're on doesn't lead to the life you want, reroute. And if not now, when is it going to happen? So take that action.
We're going to let JP close that one out. I like that.